quickly. Nice to see you all. Thank you very much for the our first Ignite session of ever. We haven't done this program before, so I'm really excited. And I think you all probably saw some information out there or you wouldn't be here. The idea is it doesn't matter whether you're seasoned or you're beginning, there's always, there's need to just kind of spark that flame again or to begin with, if you haven't done anything like this. Networking is not necessarily easy. Networking is work. And that's what we're gonna talk about today. Now, I'm actually going to, I thought I had this, but anyway, hopefully you can see it. Everybody got a view of it here? Does it work? Uh-oh, anybody there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Did I lose them? All right, thank you all ladies, but this is not just a women's program.
Jerry is here.
Oh, thank you, Jerry. So glad that you're here. So I guess I should say ladies and gentlemen. We are so glad. It's something that I started talking about a couple months ago, that we should have this Ignite program. I didn't know what the name of it was going to be. And yes, there is. Tony Robbins out there has an Ignite program, but I don't think he cares whether I name my Ignite, because he's got probably a lot more market share than I do. But in the big picture, Ignite is the program we're starting. If I had enough time, I'd go through it, but the I is for inspire you, goals and game plan is G, N is finding your network and your niche. The information is very important, that you are sharing the right information with the right people. Teamwork, I mean, you figure out who your team, and then we always go back to execution. It's easier said than done. Sometimes you get all this planning and then you're like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? But that's what the idea is, to get people excited, maybe meet some new people, and also make some new introductions and look at really why you're doing this. So the first week we're going to talk about who you are and what your story is. And some of you may say, what the heck are we doing that for? Well, it's always good to revisit it. We're going to talk about networking. And yes, okay, there we go. Networking and the keys to the networking success. We did this on the overview. So a couple of these things will be kind of reviews. Better relationships with yourself, others, and your business, which really goes to the kind of goes into the Success Connect stuff that we do. And I know a couple of you have been in that, and we'll talk about that a little bit. But then telling your story and why your story matters. And then there will be just a little bit of homework. And this is not meant to be stressful. This is to be eye-opening, maybe, kind of give you some things that you can do. Just real quick, I am Jennifer Johnson. Everybody on here probably knows that. If you don't, I like that picture, although I will tell you that picture is like, is there a bad, I don't know, guys, hold on. Not really sure. Let me see if, is it gone away?
Echoing, I don't know, maybe can everyone mute, and then maybe.
Yeah, could you mute, guys, just in case? I did hear some feedback a while ago, but it's gone now. But thank you, Nicole. I'm Jennifer Johnson. I'm TTR Networking founder, and literally we started TTR Networking literally 11 years ago. And if you want to check out our website, you can look at ttrnetworking.com. If you don't, that's fine. Most of you have probably been around, or I've talked to you at some point, but I am a relationship marketing coach. I'm a success principles trainer, that's through Jack Canfield, and I sing professionally. No question probably in your mind, but this pandemic world has been a little difficult for the live musicians. So been happy to be able to do a lot of things with our networking stuff, with our networking world. And a lot of you have been part of that, and I thank you very much. As a relationship marketing coach, though, I position you to stay top of mind in authentic ways, creating your personal connections and making you your client's first choice. So we have networking groups that meet every week. We have events like this, make new connections. And we have a number of, I try to do one-to-ones. Every week I talk to new people who are looking for something that we offer and they have never heard of this. So my job is in kind of a lot of things, but every week it's a variety. Truthfully, it's not it's never predictable, and I meet so many great people. So thank you for those who are on. I did want to say something real quick. Danielle in the Netherlands is on here as well. And Danielle, you want to say a word or two so they can hear you? I'm going to click off this share in a minute, but tell us who you are, where you're at.
Yes, I am Danielle Valette. I have married into the Netherlands. I'm originally from California. My husband is Dutch, and I have a 16-year-old daughter. And like I said, I'm from California, Southern California, as a matter of fact. And so I am very much used to lovely weather, such as heat, dry heat, and more dry heat. Here in the Netherlands, that's not actually the case. The weather is, I don't want to say atrocious. It's just something you have to get used to. If you're not from dry heat, Florida, you can reckon it or liken it to perhaps Florida and it's very all over the place. One day it could be raining and the next day it'll be sun, or you'll get the sun, the rain, and the snow in the same day. And I'm not joking.
Oh my gosh, that would be awful, honestly.
You can't plan. You make sure that you always have a jacket, some snow boots or something in your feetstas, your bicycle bags, your saddle bags, to make sure that you're covered.
Yes, wow. Well, thank you for joining. And the tricky thing with working with Danielle is, what time is it there?
It's currently 6:13 p.m.
Okay, so she's 6 hours ahead of us. And she has been on some of our networking groups, and it blows my mind when I'm thinking, oh, it's only 10 o'clock there. It's only 10. I'm thinking, would I be doing this at 10:30 at night? I don't know if I would be doing that. What I do want to do is I've got a slide, but I was feeling that was really rude. Here's Danielle talking. I don't have a picture of her. I should let everybody see who Danielle is. Danielle actually visited one of our groups maybe a year and a half ago, something, for a visitor day. And I was like, this is so cool. And when you hear about what she does, that just made me that much more excited about connecting. And she's stayed connected with us, and it's really cool. And so I've asked her to kind of help me with this program. What I was going to do after I was rude there was I was going to click off anyway and go around and let everybody say, these are the questions I want to ask you. Who are you? And I know that's a tricky one. Who are you? Who are you? And think about it, not like I'm not a relationship marketing coach. I'm whatever. Think of there's no right answers. What do you do and why do you do it? Who do you serve? And then my question I always throw out at the networking groups is, why should we care? And that really is kind of the hook, though. I just want you to think about it for a minute. Does anybody want to jump in? And if you don't know, remember the questions. And like I said, there are no right answers. This is your answer, your answers, and for you. So anybody want to jump in?
I will.
Yay, Danielle, the other Danielle. All right.
I'm scared to start driving. Figured I would go first and get it done.
Yes.
I'm Neely. I live on the southwest side of Indianapolis. I am a mom to 8 kids. You heard that right. We've got 4 boys, 4 girls. 7 of them are teenagers. So I'm partially crazy. I drink a lot.
Oh my gosh.
For
Sorry.
a career, I am a notary. So I'm a mobile notary full time. For 17 years, I was home with all my babies, and I had a state licensed home daycare. So I helped other people raise their babies, and I was blessed to do that for many years. And when the pandemic hit, like a lot of people, I kind of started reevaluating what I was doing, and the fact that I spent a lot of time kind of trapped in the house and unavailable to my kids, even though I was right there. So I kind of started exploring some things, and I found this notary world. And so I do general notary, which can be anything from power of attorney or I-9s or adoption paperwork. And then I'm also licensed to do real estate paperwork. So that's a bulk of what I do is real estate closings for local title companies and mortgage officers and real estate people. So those are mostly who I work with. And I think your other question was, why should you care? Is that, did I cover all the other
Yeah,
ones?
and that's not meant to be, meant to be rude. I tell people, it's like there should be a reason that we want to do business with you. And it could be that you've got 8 kids and you've got something figured out, because, you know, go ahead. But that's really where I'm going with that. Yeah.
So the whole, I think the thing about me that makes me a little bit different than some of the notaries is because I come from that daycare background. So
Yeah.
my thing has always been connecting with people and building relationships with people. So I like to think when I go close a loan, even if it's just a refinance for somebody, that I walk away from the table and they didn't feel rushed. They understood the documents. They felt like I cared about their transaction, and they weren't just another file that got closed. And so for the people that I work with, the title companies and the lenders, they know that when I go out to close a loan for them, that they're sending someone that, number one, knows what they're doing, and number two, that their clients are going to feel like they were important and that they had a great experience.
Cool.
And the convenience of being mobile.
Yes, right. So yes, and Danielle, I keep looking at you thinking of John, and I know that's not right. Danielle had visited one of our visitor days a couple months ago, and she was invited by a really nice member of our group, which all of our members are great, but I'll just keep the name to myself so y'all think, well, who could that be? Everybody. No, I'm just joking. But Danielle came to our visitor day, and then she and I connected, kept in touch. And Danielle, there's something about Danielle. That name is just, I don't know, they're all flocking to TTR, so I'm excited. And we're just glad you're here. And honestly, Danielle right now, Angie, Karen, Nicole, she hasn't committed to a group yet. So there you go. I'm not trying to make it real crazy for Danielle in Indiana, but she's very sweet. And 8 kids. There you go. What do you think about that? We're all like, who wants to go next? Great job. Thank you.
Well, I will go because Danielle, you and I need to connect because I have 4 kids, 4 daughters. You have double that. And I like wine and I sell wine. So
that is a good connection.
You're crazy and you drink a lot. Like, I get it. So who am I? I always say a wife and a mother first. I was a stay-home mom for 18 years, and I also watched children in my home. Not state licensed or anything. I was actually just helping neighbors out. And gosh, for 15 years, I had kids, some before school, but mostly after school, up to 7 or 8 kids after school, just a couple hours until moms and dads got home from work. So that's another thing that we have in common. This same year that my oldest went to college, my youngest went to kindergarten. So that was the first time that I had me time from the bus, on the bus to off the bus, and decided that I needed something to do. And so I opened up a home-based skincare business. Why skincare? I don't know, because it was available and someone in front of me said, hey, you should do this. And so I jumped in and learned all about dermatology and discovered a brand. I switched brands midway through, but that is fabulous, clean skincare. I'm all about environmentally friendly, good for you products. And this delivers not only that, but great results in the anti-aging world. So I also added the wine business just in October of last year, almost a year. because this wine gives back to nonprofits. And I know in my circle of moms and neighbors and friends and colleagues, giving back to nonprofits with the sale of every product is an amazing feeling, and it does good for the planet. So that is why I do what I do, and that's who I am.
Right, cool. And people should care because
Because it feels good to give back.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't think so unless you're using Ever products, but self-esteem goes a long way when you're taking good care of yourself with clean products.
Good job. Oh, I like it. Okay, cool. All right. You guys are getting it. Who wants to go? Oh, there you go. Jerry and Karen, we get 2 for 1. Oh, you're muted, Karen. You look great.
Okay. I have a voice too. All right.
There you go.
Jerry's already been in a networking meeting this morning and running around, so he suggested I talk.
Good. Good to see you.
Quiet for a few minutes. Anyway, I'm Karen Stern. Jerry and I work with a health and wellness company. We've been with them for 20 years. We are the parents, named Melaleuca. We are the parents of 3 daughters. They are all grown. They all have children of their own. So we are grandparents, which is a joy, which Jennifer knows all about that.
Yes, I do.
Yeah. So we are at a wonderful time in our lives. We've both done many, many things over the period of, we will be married 50 years. And so we are celebrating all year long because it is a big deal.
Yes, it is.
Gary was a manufacturer's rep for years, and he was on the road after that. And we had our own business. We had a business called Photo Pops, where we helped people. We delivered photos in 1 hour. So it was very fun. We did a lot of work with the community and love working with people. And that's exactly what we've done both of our lives. I was a teacher. I taught preschool for 11 years. I loved that. It was wonderful to be, it was at a time when I didn't have grandchildren and I really wanted to be with kids. And, you know, it was a love and it was wonderful. And I was glad to have done that. It's fun watching these kids now who are getting much older.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is very cool. But during that time, we found Melaleuca. We fell in love with the products. We got into it company because truthfully, we wanted to make money and we wanted another business and we worked well together. And we absolutely fell in love with the company and the products and their mission of helping people, you know, to enhance, the company mission is to enhance the lives of those we touch by helping people reach their goals. That is our goal. When people become our customer, but they become our family. So we love helping people stay healthy in all aspects of their life, whether it is personal or financial wellness. You know, we're there to help people. And we love what we do. What are your other questions?
Well, I think you kind of answered it, and I was kind of being flip at the beginning about why should we care, but we should care because you guys have obviously figured out who doesn't want, you know, to stay around. I mean, Jerry, I don't know if you want me to tell everybody, but you turned 80. You turned 80 recently. We've been joking with him that he's much older than 80 for a long time. So it's kind of like, wow, he really is 80 now. I mean, that's pretty cool. But the longevity of the business with Melaleuca, the longevity of your 50 years, the longevity of you have 3 children and you have beautiful grandchildren as well, you know, all those kind of things. I think that's why should we care? Because they figured something out, guys. And also, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I know what the products have done for us in 20 years.
Right.
You know, my allergies are improved. Jerry and I were talking about, we have a product called Replenix. I've taken that for years and helped my joints. When I taught preschool, I had carpal tunnel. You know, it's gone now. You don't want to give yourself, in Yiddish, you say you don't want to give yourself a kanahara. You don't want to knock wood. You don't want to jinx yourself. But both of us really are healthy. You know, Jerry at 80 just really started having some issues with arthritis. So I know what it's done for us physically. And that's my mission, is really to help people, you know, age and feel good. And
cool. Well, I do think that's a running theme, and that's a lot of people, but we all find our own way to do that, right? To help people. So Nicole, I don't know if you want to go, and then we'll let Danielle in the Netherlands tell us a little more about hers too. So Nicole, take it away.
Okay. Hi everybody. I am Nicole Williams. I am, oh gosh, I am a happy mama, happy mama of two amazing girls, 18 and 21, and just amazing. I just love them to pieces. I wake up in the morning and I go to bed at night, and they're always on my mind. My why is everything that can be close to them, around them, their schedules, and so I'm an appreciation advisor. I'm an integrator for Miss Jennifer Johnson. I get to do social media, collaborate, and so much fun stuff. But with the appreciation advisor, that really came about 2.5 years ago. Jennifer and I have known each other for, I don't know, over 12 years.
Lots of years.
I don't even know.
Not 50, but a long
About
time.
50. But just amazing. And then, so when we last ran into each other, we finally got together. It was always like a connecting on Facebook, LinkedIn, something like that. And we're like, we're getting together. We're going to have our iced tea and everything. And we just like so hit it off. And one thing that I recently remembered, Jennifer, was Jennifer asked me for my mailing address, which I just thought was so funny because I was like, mailing address? I don't have mailing address. But I was like, I have my home address. That's where I get my mail. And it was really neat. I didn't really think anything much of it. But a few days later, I got this amazing card in the mail, and it had such nice words, such nice,
Oh,
so
good.
nice to meet you. And my picture was on it, that she got from my profile. And it was one of those days that was just a difficult day. I was in a job that I was not happy at that time. And those words just brought such happiness, such that I needed. And then she told me about the Send Out Cards platform that she, was like, how'd you do this card? And so she taught me how she did it. And now I get to educate clients, friends, prospects on how to celebrate others. And just what you get back is just amazing. You send out that kindness, don't expect anything back, but boy, when it comes back, you just love on each other. Another way that I get to celebrate others is I teach blogging. I get to educate others on how to blog. And it's so rewarding because the blogging is where I kind of show them how to create like their virtual storefronts before they get the website. So they learn what is needed on a blog. And it's all about who their ideal client is and how they can best serve them and provide value. And then show them their service. You're building that relationship, and it is just amazing. So that is a little bit about me.
Well, I was going to say, if she didn't say that whole thing, I was going to say that for her because she was getting ready to take the Elite Blog Academy the last time, or you were finished. No, you hadn't started it, but you were.
To start. It's like a year waiting list you have to wait on. And I finally was like, I'm going to do it.
So she brings, not only can she social media post like crazy, but she also does the blogging, and she does a number of other things that were not my forte. So when she came in, it was like, yeah, this is going to work. We're always looking for more ways to let people know, but Nicole has made a big difference and a step up for what we're doing. So if you see something out there, more than likely Nicole posted it. Not I used to, but I couldn't keep up with it. So crazy, but she's actually doing a class every couple, it's like 6-week class, right? So
yeah, we have one starting Thursday evening
at
7 p.m. 6 weeks.
She's got a lot going on. So so Danielle in the Netherlands, tell us a little bit more about you just then, what you did. What were you telling? I can't remember what you told. Tell them what you do though, and why you do it.
Well, yes, I am Danielle, and I'm a headbanging dishwasher, a vacuum pusher. I am cheerleader, I am a prayer warrior partner, and a showboat. That's who I am.
I like that.
Honestly, I've had to come to grips with the fact that I'm a showboat. So I just just said, you know what, kid, you've been doing it all your life, just accept it. But I am I'm a ketogenic integrative health practitioner. And so what I do is I help people find the reason behind why they're ill. I go deeper than, the superficial level. We dig deep. We look at everything from diet to exercise, stress, toxins. We look at how they're resting, if their emotions are balanced or if they're fluctuating out of whack. We all deal with emotional whackness, but there's a bit of too high and too low. And then there's also, we look at our supplements, and then I always, like I said, I'm a cheerleader, so the success mindset always plays a part. So that's what I focus on. But I also give more. So why I do what I do is because I see the brokenness. I've lived a very long life in caregiving in one sort or another. It was either daycare, like most of you, funny enough, daycare, and then it was elder care, and then there was, there was mental health and, mentally disabled, physically disabled care, and then, but it still wasn't enough. So I went into the, I went into phlebotomy, and I also went into medical assisting, and it wasn't enough. You would think it's enough, but it wasn't enough for me because, you know the depth of what you're feeling, and sometimes you can't dig it out until you get to where you need to be. So when I finally came across the integrative health practitioning, after becoming a certified ketogenic nutritionist, then I realized, okay, this is it. But I'm not done, so don't worry. I've got more. My goal is, I've got plans. But like I said, I do what I do because I love to see restoration. I want to see people restored. I cannot stand to see broken people when they don't have to be. And it could be physically, it could be mentally, and it could also be spiritually. And I go to every single one of those realms. I fight with the people. I don't fight, I fight with them. I am their right hand sword if they need me to be, or I'm just a quiet person who needs just a listener. But that's what I do, and that's why I do it, because I love people and I just cannot stand to see them broken. And I know we like to walk around and say, you're not broken, but hey, if you're feeling broken, then you're feeling broken. We can pull each other together. But who do I serve? I serve the broken.
Yeah, good.
I serve those who need help, who are looking for a hand, who's looking for a partner in their journey to get from point A to point Z. And I go all the way to point Z with that person. I don't stop until they tell me to stop. And then I say, are you sure? That's just what I do, because I cannot, it's just in me. I can't stand to see someone hurting and not being able to find answers when the answers were there, but they've been covered up by maybe some malarkey that has been long time sitting on top of truth, and so I'm a truth. I help people find their truth, and we just get it out there. Why should you care? Because I care, and I care so much that I'm on my knees praying for everybody. I am praying for the people that I'm serving. I am, dedicating not just a certain time slot to that person. I'm actually digging deep, and they are on my mind all the time. And that may be for some people too overwhelming, but for me, that's just who I am, and that's how I give. So that's what I do, and that's why I love to do it, and that's how I do it.
Oh, I love it. It's great. And actually that is funny. Like, everybody in this call has something to do with preschool I didn't even know that about you, Karen. And it doesn't surprise me, but that's really cool. And thank you for all of that information. So I actually grabbed a pad of paper because I was going to tell everybody, take notes. And I forgot to have my own paper. I know Nicole takes notes every time we're on a call. I do want to, we're going to move right along. This is going to be 4 weeks of just this group. I mean, what I want to do is we have a mastermind that's called Success Connect that'll start again in, it's probably going to be October And, but that group kind of is open at any point for people to join us. For this program, I think it's really important that we stay on a schedule, and Nicole and I have been looking at the next 5-6 months and just making sure. There's going to be some months where there will be five Tuesdays, but then there's some months where there's only 4, whatever, but it's a 4-week thing. And I'm just glad you're all here. Know that everything that we do will be recorded and I will send it out to you. I am keeping my fingers crossed that I can go back here to share this with you again. There we go. You already figured that out, who I am. And we already talked about who you are, whatever. I do want to just really touch on this, that you may not be able to see it because that thing is right in the way. Okay, just real quick. We talk about, you know, if somebody on here, you all sounded like you know what you're doing, you know exactly why you do it. Maybe you're, you know, you're still a little bit, you know, sketchy. I use insurance examples all the time. People who are insurance agents can be really good at insurance selling, but they probably don't really, I mean, I don't know. I never loved insurance, but I loved helping people. And that's what you guys all said. So I believe you. But if you want to really dig into, you know, better relationships, I mean, that's the name of or the whole idea of our Success Connect is if you build better relationships, better business for you, others, and your business are going to follow. But how do you do that? Well, this is not the theme of what we're doing in this group, but, you know, building better relationships starts with yourself, then others, and then in your business. And I just put a couple books here. If somebody is interested, The Power of Human Connection by Cody Bateman is a wonderful book basically breaking down, you know, feeding yourself more positivity, you know. I can tell you all these things, and we do talk about them in our referral groups and in our Success Connect. And then I am actually a Success Principles trainer, which is just all the things, you know, we set goals, we do all those things. That's what our networking groups are doing anyway. But the Success Principles is another great resource. Bella, I'm sorry, my dog is barking at somebody out the window. But we're talking about networking, and we did have the overview last week. And if, you know, if you were able to join us or watch, I'm sorry, our dog's barking at somebody outside who looks shady, but I think he's just the FedEx guy. But anyway, if you are not sure what networking is, it's, according to Wikipedia, it's the sharing of information or services between people, businesses, and groups. It's also a way for individuals to grow their relationships for their job or business. As a result, connections or a network can be built and useful for individuals in their professional and personal lives. I think everybody that's been a part of our network in some way or another, very few people leave, or I would say they haven't made, what am I trying to say? They're probably not gonna be able to say they have not been impacted personally by those relationships as well. So I do want people to think, you know, networking doesn't just build your business. It builds your, you know, you've got a group of people now that you don't have to go out and socialize with them, but just the pure fact that everybody on this call has kids, you're probably already feeling a little bit connected just because of that, you know, that's how it works. Now, this is a lot to read, but I did want to make sure successful networking. So people say they're networking, but successful networking involves regularly following up with contacts to exchange valuable information that may not be readily available outside the network. It can also help you identify opportunities for collaboration, strategic joint ventures. Joint ventures have been coming up right and left in my connection. Everybody's talking about joint ventures lately. Partnerships and new areas to expand your business. It's all about connecting, yes, but it's all about definitely building relationships. And that's where I think the trick comes in. And we all talk about it, but we don't always seem to really truly understand. We talk about it in our groups every week, that it's not a overnight thing. It's not an, you have to be willing to put the time in. And everybody on this call right now, I know you are. Occasionally we'll have people who don't get it. But I do want to point out, these are the keys to networking success. If you can put them in your back of your mind, write them on your whatever, on your notebook, but you have to be authentic. Authenticity is extremely important. Every resource that I have been looking at, everything, doesn't matter who's the author, authenticity or being real, being genuine, being interested, not interesting. If you are talking constantly and you don't know anything about the people that you just met, then you were probably not being interested. You were probably monopolizing the conversation. No matter what the networking opportunity is, if you don't know anything about people, you're probably not doing that one element there. You're not really understanding what that's about. Coming to give and not to get. We talk about being a servant or coming to serve. And I loved when Angie was talking about that, because where she's giving back to nonprofits. That's one of the TTR tenets, is that, or the mission statement is that we give back to nonprofits. And we actually have an arm of our organization called TTR Cares, which a lot of you probably already know that. So I don't want to, go over that. But the one thing that I changed from last week's overview, I had be patiently persistent. And these are the little factors, or the little principles, the keys is what we're calling them in this, to being successful at networking. You have to be patient, but you have to be polite, and you have to be persistent. The one thing that I would say about anybody that I think is doing successful networking, and if you think about it for yourself, who do you know out there that is, in your mind, if they're being successful at networking, are they being patient, and are they being polite and persistent? Think about it in your own world, but those I changed, because I think you can all, we can all find those people that are not, they're persistent. They might be patient, but they're persistent and they're annoying. So polite, I think, is important. Does everybody kind of get that one? Does that make sense? Okay, so the authenticity part of it is where we're going to go right now, with the idea that we all have a story. We told a little bit about our story, a little bit. And I know people's story a little better than some of you may know each other's story, because obviously Danielle in Indiana, we don't know her story, except we know she's got 8 kids. Whoa, we already know that part. But why does your story matter? That was one of the first things that this Ignite program is going to do, is to hopefully, thank you. The idea is your story matters, because finding similarities with other people helps us live happy and healthy lives, obviously, right? We all know now, we all work, and I actually was the preschool director at my church for a year. I give you all a lot of credit, because you guys are awesome. I had twins, they're 30 now, and I have a 33-year-old son, so he was 3 or so when the girls were born. I couldn't have done preschool much longer. I had 1 year and I was like, no way, I'm with little kids all night. I'm not doing this. So I did take care of a couple kids in my home too. I think it was my nephew, but I have so much respect for people who have been in that world. And when Danielle says she's got 8 kids, I'm like, boy, but they're teenagers now. How'd she get them through that? I don't even know how she did that. Amazing. But anyway, your life may feel ordinary to you, but it might seem extraordinary to somebody else. So your story, and I know Jerry has disappeared, but when I look at Jerry and Karen, I know Jerry he's had so many health issues, right? That if you didn't have the Melaleuca, I know that you guys, he wouldn't be 80 years old now, right? Am I thinking? Okay, so your story may seem like, oh, it's a no-brainer. Of course we would use Melaleuca products, but we know that doesn't, anyway, Karen, I just put that out there. So every story shared is a chance to make someone feel less alone and obviously make new connections. Now, I will tell you briefly, really quick, I'm going to go to the next slide, I promise you. I would just tell you, I had curly blonde hair and blue glasses, and I've shared this with groups along the way, and they were kind of like, big deal. I got bullied like crazy. Everybody remember Family Affair? And I might have talked about this in Success Connect, but it was, it was awful. So everybody in school, nobody knew my name. They all called me Mrs. Beasley, because that was from Family Affair, the little doll, the little. Okay,
Right.
so I was growing up, that wasn't, I don't care how pretty she was. She was a grandma, and she would, I did not want to be called Mrs. Beasley. They didn't know my name. They did not know my name. And it made me really sad. But I started out, when I first started networking, I thought, well, if people want to hear my story, I'll tell them my story. And I'm not real happy. And I was like really negative, and, that is not what I mean by sharing your story. Giving people something positive to look for. You basically you're saying you know where they are, or you've been where they are, and now you have some things you can do. You're the transformation thing. Nicole uses transformation a lot. You are not necessarily, maybe a role model. You are an example of what can happen. So you do have to, you don't want to come in and be all pathetic and, oh yeah, my life sucks. But no, it's sharing a story is sharing that you understand where they are. I understand, I used to feel what felt, and found. I felt that way, and I can feel your pain, but now I know what is it? Feel, felt, and found. What am I saying? You know what I'm saying. The feel, I felt that way, but I found this, and it truly helped. Whatever that is. And it may be that selling Melaleuca. Yes, thank you, Nicole. I just couldn't get it right. that the Melaleuca, and I've been an avid Melaleuca user for a number of years. I know that the products work. I don't use as many of them as I should, but you're finding your pain point with your prospective client. You guys know that stuff. I want to go back here real quick, and this is from a book. Oh, does anybody have any thoughts on that? I'm sorry, I kind of am jumping through because I want to make sure we hit all the points. Anybody have any questions on that? You understand? Because I know even Danielle in the Netherlands has a clientele that have found her because she has put out a lot of, you have a podcast, you have all these things, but people are feeling a connection with you, right? I mean,
that's absolutely right. I hear a lot from those who have gone through type 2 diabetes, who are suffering from type 2 diabetes, or are trying to break free or get off of their medication. I hear a lot from them. I hear a lot from people who have weight to lose that don't know how, and they think it's impossible. I've dropped 80 pounds quite quickly, actually, following ketogenic lifestyle, and people have been watching me because I've been posting pictures. How did you do that? Wasn't it so hard? Oh my gosh, the food is so hard to, and just being able to say, yeah, I know where you've been. I felt the pain of having to change my food. And I found, like you said, that with persistence, it's not as hard as it seems, So yeah, absolutely. They've seen it and they found me because of it.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Well, that's good. And as we go along, here, I would encourage everybody. I will email everybody. We're not done quite yet. We have got a couple more things I want to share. But the big thing is that you reach out to each other and get to know each other. And you may not be a client for the other person. I mean, some of us already know each other, and you don't have to. I'm not saying, but you never know who they know. That's what it's about. And, I'm thinking of Danielle in Indiana, who's a mobile closer. Maybe you're thinking, I don't really know who to connect a mobile closer with. Well, if you spend some time talking to Danielle in Indiana, she can probably tell you the right people to connect her with. And that's what the one-to-ones, we'll talk more about that. But I do want to go back here real quick to going back to our presentation real quick, just to get on. We already talked about those, and this was your story matters. That's a big one. But according to the book called The Elements of Persuasion by Robert Dickman, there is facts tell, but stories sell. A story is a fact. I don't want you to make up a story. If you don't have a story for yourself, take somebody else's story and it's wrapped in emotion, especially if it's yours or if it's a family member or a good friend or whatever, that compels us to take action that then transforms us in some way. And it's really getting clear on who you are, what you sell or what you do, and who you're selling to that makes all the difference. And what is it that you're trying, what action are we taking and who are we, how are we transforming? What are we going in? What is the transformation? All these things I know you guys know because I know Nicole talks about transformation and in her blogging and we're all talking about it in our networking groups. Let me see what's this. But just don't forget, in the middle of all this, you may have to talk to people over and over and over and over again. I'm sure you all have stories about how you talk to somebody, so many times, and we've talked about it in all of our groups, that it can be literally, 10, 15 touches or contacts before somebody does anything. And they may at some point just tell you to leave them alone. But you have to be, if you're going to be totally about the keys of successful networking, be of service. That's a number one. Be ready to give. Don't take. Stay authentic. There's a 70-30 rule of relationships. That means 70% of the time, and actually it could be higher. We'll talk about relationship marketing a little bit more later in the couple of weeks from now, we'll talk about it. But 70-30 means you're basically saying, 70% of the time or more, I'm building relationships, and 30% of the time, I'm talking business. If they, I'm actually trying to sell something to them. That could be on your social media, anything. It's whatever you're selling, it should be the last thing. And if people get comfortable with you and they know that you're authentic, then they're going to want to know what you sell. And you guys all know this, but know your audience. I talked to Nicole earlier. I said, there are times when you're talking to people and in my music world, let me just use that real quick. If I'm performing for a group of seniors, which usually are my biggest audience, occasionally I'll be doing a song and I'm looking at them and I can tell they don't care about that song. So I will totally change whatever my song is, my song choice, and I will go to something different, some other genre or something. But that's what you have to be able to do, is know your audience that you're working with. And if you, have a couple stories, not just your story, maybe have a couple different angles that, I don't mean to use angle as a negative, but it does sound like an angle. Anyway, so I'm going to send this to you, and I think we've got a few minutes. Does anybody have any questions about really getting, I'm going to ask you these questions in a minute. Are there any questions real quick while we're sitting here because I'm going to give you those questions, and I really want you to spend a few minutes thinking about it. This is what I would say. Tony Robbins, Nicole actually opened up my ears to Tony Robbins the other day, and I don't know, anybody really follow Tony Robbins on anything? I mean, he's unbelievable. If you look at and I never really paid attention to what he talks about. One of the things he's known for is if you aren't growing, you're dying. If you've ever heard that one. So you guys just being on this call says you want to do something, you're growing. All of you, doesn't surprise me at all. I just met Danielle in Indiana over the last couple of weeks. And when I told her we were doing this, she said, oh, whatever, I'll get on. And this was a great way to introduce her to a couple of our group leaders, a couple of our members, but also to give her some background on networking. But Tony Robbins, if you go on, he talks all about the answers to these questions. So the homework is, and I'm going to send it out to you, but the first question is, what business am I in? And your answer may seem obvious, but this is from Tony, but you really need to drill a little deeper. For instance, what business is Starbucks in? Does anybody know? Have you ever heard this about Starbucks? Anybody ever heard this? I mean, we think about Starbucks. What business are they in? Anybody thought? Nicole?
Well, immediately I would think coffee, but it's not coffee. It's the whole experience.
Right.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard that before? Howard Schultz, if you ask Howard Schultz, he will likely tell you all about his trip to Italy, where he saw people eagerly meeting in cafes before and after work. He saw the promise of transitional meeting between home and work. And that was what the seed that grew into Starbucks. He knew his business was about creating an experience, not just delivering coffee. When I actually used to meet in Starbucks, people, it's not about the coffee, because the coffee really, I don't know. I don't go to Starbucks. So I don't know really, but anyway. But so the question is, what business am I in really? What business are you really in? And I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of our answers come back the same, very similar. And then how is business? And just, this is personal answers. Why did you get into this business originally? Why did you get into this? It's kind of funny because Angie said she picked up skincare and she doesn't even know why she did that really, but she's figured it out. But why did you get into business originally, and why are you in it now? I'll send these out, but that's our last slide of the day. Okay, this is just, all these answers are your particular answers. Nothing is right or wrong, but who are you and who is your current client, and what does your current client need? Do you know what your current client needs? And if you don't, I guess I would say this might be a good moment to, what are their pain points? What are you supposed to be? Anyway, so what business are you in? What business, truly, what business are you in? How is business? How'd you get into business? Why are you in it now? Who are you? Who is your current client? And what does your client need? And we will leave it right there. And then there's a lot more that Tony talks about as far as, how to build a successful, and we'll hit on those a little bit. But the first week is really all about, what is your story? Why are you doing what you're doing? And I'm not here to say that you're doing anything you shouldn't be doing, but there's a reason you do it. You guys all alluded to it, and I'm excited about that. So you're welcome. You're welcome. And Danielle has so much, both of our Danielles, I'm sure, have a lot, but Danielle in the Netherlands has some things that I know she'll share more later. Next week, we're going to talk about, you have to get in and really understand your market, your client. That's why I left it where we are. Who is your client? What do they need? And then you can create a game plan if you don't already have one. And if you have one, then I want, that's where we're going to be next week, creating a game plan. And that game plan, like anything else, if you're not growing, you're dying. If you're not progressing, if you're not working it, if you're not taking action, nothing's going to happen. You go and look out there. I will leave you with this. 10 years ago, Tony Robbins did a TED Talk. The name of it is, Why Do We Do What We Do? Because I went out on the internet and I'm like, why do we do what we do? Why do we do what we do? The first thing that came up was a TED Talk by Tony Robbins 10 years ago, and it's really good. Now, I don't know if you haven't ever looked at Tony Robbins too much or paid attention, I'm gonna let you go. But a lot of in his presentations, he has some 4-letter words here and there. I don't know if, at least he does in this one. So I will leave it at that. But it's great information, and it's like, it makes perfect sense. I mean, you are, and it's one of the top Canfield trainer things. You're 100% responsible for what you do with what you have and where you are and what, if you don't do anything, then nothing's going to happen. So I will leave it at that, but go check out that podcast. I'll send you a link to this, and thank you very much. Does anybody have any questions? Anything I might have left out for today? Just really think about those questions, though. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Nicole, did I leave anything out? You and I talked earlier. Nope. Okay.
No, it's amazing. Thank you.
And we do have, I guess I'd ask, there she is again, Danielle. Drive carefully. Anybody's got questions? You're welcome. We're glad to see you. I'm gonna stop recording.